You ever been in a movie and your heart starts pounding like crazy, not just from what you're seeing, but from what you're hearing? Well, today we're talking about the guy who basically invented that feeling.
Seriously, think about it. You're in that dark theater, popcorn in hand, totally sucked into the movie. The hero is in deep trouble and you are literally on the edge of your seat.
And then, bam, this huge wave of sound just hits you. The music gets bigger and bigger with this deep bass that you can actually feel in your chest. Your heart starts racing and you just know something epic is about to go down. Yeah, that's not an accident. That is 100% by design.
So what if I told you that one person is the secret architect behind that feeling in so many of the movies you love? A composer who has basically written the soundtrack to our lives for decades. His name is Hans Zimmer, and he's kind of like the ultimate movie music hacker.
To get how he does it, we gotta go way back to when he was a kid. But here's the twist. Hans Zimmer wasn't some classical genius who loved practicing piano. Nope, it was actually the exact opposite.
He thought his formal piano lessons were super boring and way too restrictive. So instead of practicing all the time, he started messing with the piano itself. He'd literally attach chains to it or stick things inside just to see what kind of wild new sounds he could make. It was like he was modding his piano, trying to unlock cheat codes for sound.
So after his piano hacking days in Germany, he moved to London. He started playing in bands, and, this is the key part, he got really into music technology and synthesizers. He eventually teamed up with another composer, Stanley Myers, and they started mixing old and new sounds. But his huge break was the movie Rain Man. He used synths and steel drums, and Hollywood is just like, whoa, what is that sound?
And that sound, that whoa moment, that's his secret weapon. It's his signature move, the ultimate mashup of two completely different worlds.
See, back then, composers usually had to pick a side. It was either team orchestra, with all the violins and horns giving you those big classic emotions, or you were team synthesizer, using computers to create cool, modern digital sounds. Most people just stayed in their lane. But Hans Zimmer, he was like, why choose? I'm going to use both.
And this is basically his recipe. First, he builds this digital foundation with synthesizers. That's where he gets those deep, rumbling bass sounds and weird textures you just can't get from a normal instrument. Then, he brings in a real orchestra to play on top of it, adding all that human feeling and warmth. Finally, he mashes it all together to create that absolutely massive sound we all know.
But wait, before he even writes a single note of music, he creates what's called a sound palette. Honestly, the best way to think about it is like creating a custom photo filter for Instagram, but for sound. He builds a whole library of unique noises and tones, maybe a recording of a ticking clock, or some weird computer noise that gives the whole movie its own audio vibe.
Okay, so Zimmer doesn't create all this epicness by himself. Oh no. He's kind of like the Nick Fury of movie music. For every film, he assembles his own team of musical Avengers.
And when I say he assembles a team, I mean he goes big. A typical orchestra might have, 4 French horns? Zimmer looks at that and goes, that's cute, let's use 16. He basically cranks the sound up to raid boss level to get this screen-filling power that makes you feel like you're right there. But it's not just about making things louder. He actually casts his musicians just like a director casts actors for a movie. He's not just looking for someone who can play the right notes. He's looking for a specific player with a unique style that perfectly fits the vibe of the movie or even a single character. And just look at his A-team. For Gladiator, he needed a voice that sounded like it was from another time, so he got Lisa Gerrard. For The Lion King, he needed that authentic, powerful African sound, and he found Lebo M. For action movies, he'll bring in an electric cellist like Tina Gua. Each one is a specialist, bringing their own unique power to the score.
So what does all this mean? All this rule-breaking, this mashing up of old tech and new tech, this dream team approach? It didn't just make a few cool soundtracks. It completely changed the game forever.
You know, for a long time, movie music was just background noise. But Zimmer helped prove that it could be art all by itself. I mean, the dude sells out huge stadiums for his live tours, where people just come to hear the music. No movie, just the score. That tells you everything. People love this stuff as much as any pop song.
It's pretty clear how things have shifted. Before Zimmer, it was mostly just orchestras. Then he came along with his hybrid electronic orchestral sound. And now, that hybrid style is just how movie music is done. He didn't just write new songs, he basically created a whole new playbook. So, if you take one thing away from all of this, let it be this. From that kid messing with his piano to the most famous composer in Hollywood, Zimmer's entire career shows that sometimes the most creative, game-changing ideas come from breaking the rules.
So, the next time you're watching a movie, try this. During a big scene, just for a second, close your eyes and just listen. Can you hear the story the music is telling you? And think about this. What would that scene feel like if the music wasn't there at all?